All right, that's Mike, that's Mike, that's Mike. Good morning, everyone. It's July 29, 2025, 9:28 in the morning. And this is our last Tuesday of the month before we head into August. So we are less than 2 minutes away from the market opening. That's Mike. Good morning, everyone. All right. So I hope you guys had a good trading week. We do this live every Tuesday around 9:30 in the morning Eastern time. And yeah, 1 minute before the market opens. So we always start with what the overall market is doing. So we're looking at SPY. SPY is up by $1.42 or 0.22%. So our pre-market low is at 637, around that area, and 638 is the pre-market high. Just looking at what else is active. We are looking at NVIDIA as well, very active. It's up by $1.37. So 0.22%. So our pre-market low is at 637. We're having a little bit of a pullback with NVIDIA. So pre-market low here, 177 with a pre-market high of 179. I'm also going to be looking at Tesla today. Tesla with a pre-market of 324, 15 seconds before the market opens, as well as AMD. AMD is running for a couple of days now. So yeah, let's look at what the SPY is doing. So here we go, ding, ding, ding. All right, so SPY is gapping up very strong here. We are at all-time high. We are at 638.42, big rejection there at 638.60. And yesterday, what happened was it went all the way to 637, and the lowest is at 635, closed red at 636. So right now we are still heading just a little above the VWAP on the 15 minutes. Let's lower down our time frame here. Trying to see if there's any resistance there. There is a big order at 638.70, so that is very bullish. So this is gonna pop to that level, 638.70. So strategy today is, let's look at what SPY is gonna do. AMD is running without us. So AMD used that pre-market low as an area of strong support. Looking at SoFi is strong, PayPal is weak, so PayPal is a good for short. Pre-market high 80.62 with 71 as the pre-market low. It is heading to that VWAP, so this can just have that continuation to the upside. Now SPY had that rejection still at 638.64. Now we are just in between our pre-market high and pre-market low. That's why I did not want to jump into this SPY yet. Tesla on the other hand, let's see, yesterday it reached, put a level there at 330.5, another rejection here at 326. So now let's see if this is just going to retest that moving average. SPY now having that rejection at 638. We are about to test the low of the pre-market, 637. So VWAP here, 638.48, up by 0.2% now. We did close red yesterday, so a big support here is at 638.02. So no open positions yet. Trying to see what it'll do at that support. No imbalance at the bid and the ask. Support at 637 acted as a strong support. It actually bounced from there. There's not a lot of volume with that pushed higher, 638.29. So thoughts are SPY is looking weak. So this can be a potential for a short, but we can start a very small position. We can buy some puts at 638. Okay, 638, let's buy some puts, meaning we are going to be short bias on this. Now I haven't pulled the trigger yet because what I can see here is both has a big wick. So that means we're going to have a tight stop loss here if ever we're going to get that order in. One thing that's holding me back here is look at how big the wick is from the top and the bottom. So this is a very choppy market. So that's the only thing that's holding me back here. Rather than trying to make a hard trade, why don't we look at an easier trade? PayPal, we were looking at PayPal earlier. PayPal looks weak, bouncing at the VWAP. So let's head back to PayPal. Bouncing at VWAP, but that can also be just a rejection there at 72.61. While I'm doing that, I'm also still analyzing SPY, what it can do. All right, so here is PayPal. We are short bias on PayPal. PayPal that is the high of today, but it's very weak. I don't see any conviction here for PayPal to push higher. So strategy here is we can short PayPal and then stop loss is on top of this high of the day. Trying to get a confirmation with the moving average if it's going to be supported, as well as the volume bar. Looking at the 5 minutes, 5 minutes is strong. So that prevents me from pulling the trigger of buying, because this one is a hammer. Rejection again at 72.61. All right, so entering a small position to the short side. Adding to that level, we are short PayPal here. Adding to that level. So what we saw with PayPal is it has that strong resistance at 72.61. Every time it touched that 72.61, then it encountered that very strong resistance. Look at the volume bar that tries to pick up here when it's pushing down. So the momentum here for this to go lower is there. Look at your bid. You have more orders sitting at the bid rather than the ask. So that one is very bearish. Look at what SPY is doing now. SPY is just hovering at the same area. And the reason why we did not touch SPY is because of that matter. Because you don't want to get chopped in a position where it's just going to be going nowhere. So this one, we have a nice move already, taking some partial. Now what I'm waiting for is for PayPal to retest the low of the day. Look at that big rejection there. We're waiting for the retest of the low or the pre-market low, and that we get to lose that level. That means it's going to be still an exponential move. Retesting. There's big orders at 71. So this is going to go to 71. So let's look at that 71 get printed here. 71.14, 12, 22. Someone is holding. Someone is buying or covering their position at 71.06. Hence, we got that little bit of a push. So 71.31, we did get some covering here, but there is still that resistance. Okay, we're at 42 now. 41. Hands is on the trigger here. Now, our stop loss is going to be, we're not going to let this one turn into a red trade. We were able to capture that one already. So our stop loss is not even going to be our entry here. When we have the confirmation that it is indeed heading the other direction, then we can just close this position. It's about to retest the VWAP resistance at 70s, 71, 65. Not a lot of, we are at the VWAP. Let's see if this is going to reject the VWAP. 72, they're pushing this one to 72. Very close to getting stop out. All right, all out here. So yeah, a couple of hundreds there. Still is a green trade. Let's go back now to SPY. Let's see if SPY made up its mind on what it wants to do. So now SPY, I just don't like this. Almost a doji. All right, Tesla. Tesla looking interesting. Now we were calling Tesla out with regards to that moving average. So Tesla lost the pre-market low. Pre-market low is here. And then, yeah, this one still looks weak. All right, going back to PayPal. PayPal, look at the volume bar here when it's pushing up. There's just no momentum for this to go up. Look at this. Compare it to the volume bar when we're pushing lower. So this is the big resistance again, 72.6. If they're not able to break, which they just did, so the thesis there is if they're not able to break 72.6, then we can reshort again. So we're shorting at the pop, covering at the drop. So if this one, now the tides have turned. You now have 73 having a lot of orders here. So they're pushing this one to 73. Look at the prints here, 73 incoming. The imbalance now between the bid and the ask is there. So 72.95, 94. There you go. That's the 73 there. Now we created a new high of the day. But let's see if there's any resistance there at 73. If there's any imbalance at the bid and the ask, then we can try to reshort. But right now, what happened there is there are a lot of stop loss here, and people or traders just got stop out. Market manipulation, you can call it that way, but market makers do need to get their money too. So nothing personal in trading. All right, so this is the rejection that I was waiting for. So just re-entering short. Our new stop loss now is the new high of the day. So rejection there at 73. Now trying to see if there's any imbalance, just building up a position for the short. Adding to that position. All right, so now the thing that's lacking here is the volume bar. We don't have a lot of volume to support that. So what we're looking for now is the imbalance between the bid and the ask. Now, if this one goes to 73.1, then we'll be out of this trade. So the thing that I can see here is there are some orders sitting at 73. So this has a potential to retest the high of the day. So stop loss there, 73.15. Rejection again. Getting very close to getting step out. SPY still in that range. Look at that big rejection right there. Let's put a line, let's put a level. That's the high of the day. We're going to be adding to our position if this level is broken at 72.46. Now looking at the 5 minutes, 5 minutes still looks strong. Every time it goes down, retests the pre-market low, buyers tend to step in. That's why you create that wick. So not a lot of volume bar here. That's why we are stuck in that range. So SPY, that one was the move that I was waiting for. Eventually broke and tested the low of the day. So SPY now is creating a new low of the day. So that's just how you trade. You keep on looking what the overall market is doing. You see which one is the most active. A gap down deserves to be, depending on your analysis, but a gap down is screaming at you that it is weak. So, as long as you have a very solid strategy of shorting it, then the potential is there. All right, so what we have going on here is we're building up that short position because every time it goes to 73, there is a rejection. Now what we're waiting for is a confirmation with the bid and the ask, where we see a lot of orders in the bid, meaning it is mostly bearish. So now what I see here is we are just stuck at that 72.45. There's not a lot of imbalance. SPY having a support at 636. All right, PayPal in the 5 minutes, just that big rejection at 73. While we're looking at this one, we're looking at the rest of the stocks on our watch list. We're looking at AMD as well. AMD is very strong today. All right, so looking at the 5 minutes here, look at how our volume bar is dying when we're trying to push higher. Momentum here for the push higher is dying. Rejection at 72. It did not even have the strength to even test this 73. But let's see if this candlestick is able to retest this high of the day. All right, so 73.04. There is an order there. Now remember that these orders can just easily be canceled. So unless you get to see it printed in the tape, that's the only thing that is legit there, because this one can still be canceled, which, should not be the case. But all right, Tesla found the support at 321. All right, let's do a long on Tesla. So just doing a long on Tesla, just that support, nice hammer right there at the bottom. Go back to PayPal. Let's see if PayPal is gonna stop us out here. We're very close to getting stop out. Look at the volume bar here. So what can happen here is it's gonna retest the high of the day, and then rejection will happen because there's not really a lot of volume bar there. But they would like, market maker would like to get rid of those stop losses here because that's where they make their money to. So that's another scenario there. Do they even have the buyers who's willing to step in here and retest that high of the day? We'll see based on the tape and the level 2. Level 2 has no imbalance there. Rejection already at 73. Tesla here, we have a small position to the long, and stop lost will be our 320. All right, back to PayPal. So PayPal here, 72.70. Volume bar is starting to pick up when we are closing red. So thoughts here. If this one lose this area, then we'll gonna add retesting the high, then we're gonna be step out. So 73.12 rejection there. We're printing 73.07. Look at that big rejection, 73.16. 20. Big order there went through at 15. All right, so there's orders sitting right here at 25, 16 now. Rejection again at 20. Volume bar. That was part of our if-then statement there, that there are a lot of stop loss here and market makers would like to get rid of those stop losses. All right, Tesla here is not ready yet for a long. So we're closing out our position there in Tesla. Rejection in PayPal, 72.97. Support at 72.89. Volume bar. All right, 5 minutes here. Surprisingly, there's not really a lot of stop loss here. Just because look at the volume bar, there's not a lot of, so SPY now is dropping. We are now retesting the VWAP at PayPal. Apple is dropping. $73.30. There is a little bit of imbalance here between the bid and the ask. Orders at the ask is lining up compared to the one at the bid. So that's very bullish. At that retest of that high, 73.25, we're going to be stepping out. Looking at the higher time frame. Higher time frame actually still looks strong. This rejection that we're looking for. So added to that short on PayPal. We're just building that short position. All right, 72.70. SPY having a little bit of support at 637.38. You are waiting for PayPal to drop. Okay, Tesla now having a little bit of support there. We got step out Tesla. See if it's ready for us for a bounce. All right, back to PayPal. PayPal waiting for a break. Looking at the bid and the ask. Bid, we do have 72. Just keeps going away though. So 72.88 is the support now. 77. So we're looking at prints. Prints are going lower. When you get to see the white prints, that means they're buying in between the bid and the ask. That's why we don't get any bias when it's white prints. We do get some bias if it's bright red or bright green. Bright green meaning they're hitting the ask on the higher than ask. So that means that's very bullish. And then if it's bright red, they're hitting lower than the bid, so it's very bearish. So you get the mixture. This is the big orders right here, which is just in between the bid and the ask. We can't really conclude anything with that white prints. What we're waiting for, since we are short bias here, is prints of red and of course the break of those support. So the next support here is 72.61, and that support is, we just encountered that support, tested that, becomes a resistance, becomes a support now a couple of times. All right, Apple still pulling back. AMD is still very strong. All right, let's see now if PayPal is ready to break that support. Look at the prints now. 72.64, 68. We're waiting for a break of 61. So prints of 61, 62. There you go, 59. All right, perfect. So 57. So retesting that support. 61. Tesla slowly grinding. See. So we are long Tesla here. Initially long, got stop out, and then went long again. And then PayPal here, that acted as a support again. What I don't like here, and we can be stuck in this consolidation, is look at the volume bar. Volume bar is dying. So with that small of a volume bar, it can just consolidate at that area, and it'll take a while for it to find the direction. Okay, 72.50. Look at this one. There's a big order right there, 72.50. Look at this one. So that order is 230,000. This one is 200,000. So look at the bright red print, the one that we were talking about earlier. That's very bearish. Look at that. Now we're breaking the support. Hence, this is the move that we are waiting for. All right, so now we're at the VWAP. Now look at the bid and the ask. We have more orders sitting at the bid now. Of course, those who are waiting for this to drop at the VWAP, they do have to cover. So there's the pop there at the VWAP. So let's see, 72.53. So got the higher time frame. Higher time frame still is a green candlestick. But we do see the tide turning here at the 5 minutes. All right, let's see if Tesla is ready for a pop or ready for another drop, which means we are just gonna get stopped out. All right, so let's analyze PayPal more here. PayPal 72.60s. We are now back to that. Initially was a support, now becomes a resistance. So 72.61, it is respecting that resistance as of the moment. SPY just had a little bit of a pop. What else is moving? AMD. Look at what AMD is doing. AMD is just not looking back. 175 at the open, and then now 179. All right, 72.83. Now a lot of volume bar with that pushed higher. Tesla Looks like we found a support on Tesla, 320.66. All right, let's look back here. Not a lot of volume bar to support that pop. So this is the first anomaly here. You have a big candlestick. There's nothing to support there with volume bar. Big candlestick, look at the volume bar. No support at all. So that means market makers is trying to play with us that, oh, looks like it's gonna retest again the high of the day, but there's really no volume bar to support that. On the other hand, this one, little doji there at the top, rejection at the moving average, you have a bigger volume bar. The only thing that's missing here though is if you compare those volume bars from here at the beginning, we are not seeing those big volume bars now. So couple of things. Day traders could be done at this move, or we can just get stuck in this consolidation for a while before it decides what it wants to do. So SPY created a 9 EMA play here. You have your moving average, you got your gap up and then pull back, and then it respected that pullback. All right, PayPal here, watching this very closely. If it's gonna stop us out. Looking at the print, 72.89. If I'm not stuck in this 2 position, I would have buy puts with SPY now. Looks like we had another rejection at the VWAP, so potential for another leg down for SPY. And then Tesla consolidating at 320. All right, let's look at for any anomalies here. All right, pushing up, we're lacking volume, pushing up, lacking volume, pushed up, no volume, push down, volume is there, push down, volume is there, push down, volume is there. So we do have that confirmation. Just added to that short position on PayPal just because of that anomaly with the volume bar. So we are waiting for this one to retest that level, 72.44, and to break that level because we are short. Tesla is just consolidating there. It's encountering that moving average. So let's see if that's going to break that moving average or it's going to pop from that moving average. All right, so going back here, look at now the bid and the ask. There is an imbalance now between your bid and the ask. 72.50 is the one that is, waiting here to get filled. So now look at how quick that one got filled. We're now at 72.43, 44. This is the kind of analysis that you wanted to do on your trade. You look at your volume bar, just like what we're doing earlier. Push up, no volume. Push up, no volume. Push up, no volume. Pushing down, look at the volume. Momentum is there for this to go down. Higher time frame. All right, that's a very strong support, 72.33. That is the VWAP here. But look at the imbalance. We have a lot of orders sitting at the bid. The print now at 72.41, 30, 46. So yeah, we're breaking that support. Now PayPal, Tesla had found the support at 320.10, which is good because we are long Tesla. We're waiting for that break. And incoming, we are now seeing 72.30. That is the VWAP. Expect some support at the VWAP. A lot of traders are covering their position. Now we are breaking that support. That's what we're waiting for. 72.40. Someone is holding that support, 72.30. Let's see here. Just managing this Tesla as well. Tesla is not ready for us for that support. So let's see. Just about to get stop out here in Tesla. All right, we got stop out in Tesla, but PayPal, I missed that drop. But yeah, we are in a very good position in PayPal here, just because of those anomaly that we were watching and building that position. So short and just building that position. So now 72.15, a lot of orders sitting right here, 72.04, 72.02. So we're waiting for that to get printed here. Support incoming, 72. There are some profit takers there, which I don't blame them. That was a good, yeah. That was a good move. All right, watch out for this one. That's a little bit of a hammer, but there's still lots of red prints there. $72.28, 30. Trying to see if it's has the potential for another leg down. So now the resistance is at 72.33, which is the VWAP. Look at that big rejection there, 72.18, 15 incoming. Waiting for a test of 72.15. Okay, let's look at the volume bar. Volume bar is starting to pick up here. Rejection again at the VWAP. We're waiting for this one to break the support, 72.11. Order sitting right here at 72.15. $26. Someone is holding the line at 72.20. Let's look at the 5 minutes. Support at 72.15. Let's see if it's ready to retest that support. PayPal still looking weak. Apple found the support, 72.19. All right, we're waiting for that 72.11. There you go. $72.11. Tested that support. Profit takers right here. Interesting enough, it's not even retesting the VWAP. So now 24, 21. Let's see if this is now, there you go, 72.11. 72.13, 72.11, there you go. We were waiting for that. Time to take some partial. I was about to take partial, but I actually hit sell rather than cover, which is totally fine because we are still heading lower. So 72.15, 10. Okay, the print's now 72.9, perfect. 09, 08. So we broke that there you go, 72. All right, covering. There you go. That was the very strong support that we're, there you go, trying to break. But after breaking that support, look at this, how exponential that move was. So now 72.01. At those prints, 72. We are now below 72. All right, Tesla. Okay, stepping in Tesla. There you go. That's the break that we were waiting for. Excellent. 72, 71 incoming, 71.86. Taking some partial. 90. That was the break that we were waiting for. That was a big volume bar that came through. Now, yeah, this one is just, look at how clean this thing is. There's just no support right here. So now, yeah, it's just a matter of covering the drop. So 71.75, there's not even any support holding right here. So those could be just profit takers. So 81, support at 74. We are printing big, like 500,000 shares here, 71.74. They are hitting lower than the bid, so very bearish. So yeah, we're just covering our whatever is left in our position. All right, that is 72.11 is our stop loss. We reach right here, we're all out. Lots of covering happening here. 72.11 now is the stop loss. There you go, look at that big rejection, 72.11. So what happened there is people are covering. Of course, for you to cover, you have to buy. But there's not even new buyers that's trying to step in. When we call this one out, almost 500,000 shares hitting the bid, they're just trying to close their position. So that's how weak this stock is for now. $77, incoming 75 here. 75, okay, not a bad idea to cover. Now looking at what else we can trade. So we did not do options today, not yet, just because the SPY at the open is just very choppy. And we typically like trading SPY if it gives us that opportunity. But what it did today was it gave us a very choppy opening. So we did not want to get stuck there. That's why we ended up just trading the usual. So 72.11 is our stop loss. 72.0304. We already made our profit here, so that 72.11 having it a stop loss is just for us to close the position and move on to the next trade. Rejection again. Look at that. 72 rejection. Very close to getting step out. 72.09. Yeah, it keeps getting rejected. Now we're at 72.0304. All right, let's look at the volume bar. Look at the volume bar again. It's dying there. To be honest, I wanted to get there you go. All right, so we are, but big rejection. 72.11 was my stop loss, but then big rejection there. All right, so all out there. That was a good move with PayPal from 72.79 to 71.74. Almost a dollar move there. All out. Now Tesla here. Being Tesla, just getting chopped. Stop loss there is the low of the day, 319. All right, what I can see here is AMD is getting weak now. Look at this one. We encountered that very strong resistance at 180.43. Twice it touched and have a rejection there. So thesis there is we can have a good stop loss on the high of the day. It was retested twice and short this thing, but we need to have a confirmation with our volume bar, which is what I'm analyzing now, which is a good risk to reward ratio here. So just shorting AMD. In the short, stop loss is the high of the day. Volume bar, we don't have any confirmation yet, so we're waiting for that, but we are adding to our position for that. So we're short AMD. Stop loss is this high of the day. We are long Tesla. Tesla, you just need to give this some time. Lots of consolidation here. You look at the 1 minute, very choppy. So you silence the noise by looking at the higher time frame, the 5 minutes. The 5 minutes looks like it's just a bunch of consolidation there. We are now heading to that support at 320. So that's how you silence the noise. AMD. Trying to see what else is a potential trade here. Waiting for that break in AMD. All right, let's look at the tape. 178.90, 89. Bid and the ask. SPY is consolidating. Let's look at the higher time frame. Just a little bit of rejection there. Next resistance here is this level, 180.11. Volume bar is not there. When we close green, but expect just a bunch of consolidation. Tesla moving very slowly. This is the concept of once they say elevator is the one that stocks ride the elevator, it rides the escalator on its way up, or the stairs, because it's so low, too slow to go up. All right, so here now AMD, we're waiting for AMD to break 179.61. That is the support of that. We are short AMD just because of our analysis here, how it tested 180.46 twice, and every time it gets tested, there's a rejection there. So thesis was we can have a nice stop loss on the high of the day and write this one down. Tesla is moving finally. It took a while, but it moved. All right, so now, let's see here. Remember that our stop loss is the high of the day. There is a big order right here. That was, let's see, yeah, that was thousands of orders right there. Quantity, 127, no, 1.2 million. 1.2 million orders of 180.23. So that's why there was a pop right there. Look at this big order right here. But can it sustain that? Volume bar here is depleting when we're pushing higher. Tesla now is moving higher. That's like a 1.2 million shares. Someone just bought a 1.2 million shares. Price is 180.23 at 10.19. Wow. And that's this 10.19. That's why we got that pop. So that's the strategy. We secured our easy trades first, which is PayPal. We just write it down because it's a gap down, and then at least by that time you get a capital that a buffer of for today. All right, let's see if AMD is gonna retest the high of the day, 180.46. So interesting enough, we have more ask now than the bid. That's very bullish. So getting close to getting step out here with AMD. All right, so AMD is not ready yet for a short. So covered right there. Big pop. And a rejection. It just stopped me out. Common stock, common market maker move. All the stop losses gets hit, and the awaited move happens after. All right, so starting a small position here. Shorting AMD. So entered AMD to the short. Tesla looking nice here. So our long, our patience is paying off here. So this is the reason why we stayed away from SPY today. The clue here was when I saw, what is this? The clue here of when to stay away from SPY is this. First candlestick, you get this high wick at the top, high wick at the bottom. Expect a lot of choppiness. So we did not even do any options trade today. It's just, that will be a hard option play. So we went to do PayPal for a short and it didn't disappoint. You have a nice gap down, so we are short bias. We short at the pop, cover at the drop. All right, AMD, retesting the high again. PayPal having another drop. It's amazing. All right, let's look at the higher time frame. All right, we are seeing some shift here. Volume bar, you have volume bar that's depreciating when we are pushing higher. All right, let's see what else is moving. So we're waiting for a drop in AMD. Tesla is about to retest the low of the day. SPY is at R3, popping at R3, SPY. Yeah, that's just the advantages as well of an options trade. Options trade, you can be in and out quickly. With equity trading with the stocks, you just have to be very patient. Let's see, it's an hour and we are still waiting. 5 minutes on AMD. Look at how overextended it looks. And yeah, we're waiting for that drop. And unfortunately, Tesla, we're gonna be closing out that position. So Tesla got a nice pop before it had that another leg down. So yeah, closed out that position. AMD waiting for that bigger leg down. Let's see, where is the next support on Tesla here? That is the low of this candlestick yesterday. All right, so our Tesla position is closed. We're just waiting for another leg down here in AMD. And let me just answer this one email while I'm waiting for that drop. So support at 179.61. SPY found the support 637.5. $180.48. We had a pretty good entry for our short here, so stop loss is just a little above the high of the day. Getting close to getting stop out, 180.74. Rejection again at 180.44. Tesla, another rejection there. Okay, let's see. Waiting for that leg down. Took a while. Getting close to getting stop out here, 80.51. Tesla tested that support right here. S4. Taking a long on Tesla. Getting close to getting step out here. Look at the easy trade here. This PayPal could have been just a one and done. You short, you hold. All right, AMD 118.90 is our stop loss. All right, so not ready yet. So we got stop out there. Tesla here on the other hand is moving on our direction. We're just going to be adding to that position. So just added to that long position in Tesla. And then AMD, yeah, still not done pushing higher, so we got stop out there. So just looking for another trade. AMD got a stop out, but wow, this is just so strong. So for that, you just want to get out of that. All right, PayPal. Can still test the low of the day. All right, Tesla here. Tesla popping here, just very slowly. Big rejection at 182 there. Just reshorting AMD. 181. Running out of position here, 181. So for that, we're short bias. 180 potential. Tesla looking good. Right, it keeps rejecting that resistance, 180-150. Tesla finally moving. Tesla finally making its move. We were just testing our patience there. Big order at 322. This is gonna pop to 322. This one, look at this one, 322 incoming. 320, 90s, 90s. We're waiting for this. All right, what time is it? 10:49. This is longer than what I anticipated. AMD is just ready to drop here. Alright, Tesla, we're waiting for another pop. And AMD here, 180. Okay. Wow, look at what SPY is doing. So now SPY's at the red. Covering some Tesla shares there. AMD now. We are dropping here. So 180 incoming for buying some put on AMD. So since we're running out of shares of that AMD, we bought some puts to hedge our position. So AMD still dropping. Our put position now made that moved. And with Tesla, did not get any, did not hedge our position with the long call on Tesla. Let's see here, 322. Yet. AMD still dropping. Nvidia pulling back. Wow. So now this is the move that we were waiting for. The drop. We were anticipating that drop here. We got it stop out, and then we hedge our move with buying puts, which is basically just being short with options. This is still heading lower. SPY as well. On 79.82. Waiting for another leg down. These having some support at 90s. SPY is heading another leg down here. Or 90, big resistance in 84 and 90s. SPY is pushing higher. We were back in the 90s, 87, trying to see for the first cover. 80. 80s incoming, there you go. Taking some partial. 78. This is going to be retesting the VWAP. 77, 72. 71. 65, there you go. Took another partial there. All right, let's go back to Tesla here. Tesla getting the momentum here. And yeah, I think we're just gonna call it a day. It's a pretty rough one, but we were able to manage. Tesla now having the momentum to go higher. Alright, so let's just do a recap. Alright, well, good morning everyone. It's, what time is it? 11:01. We are trading longer today than usual, so we'll call it a day. Tesla is still moving, but I did not want to get FOMO'd on that. We were able to get pretty good move on the rest of the stocks, but Tesla, not really. So calling it a day, longer than usual. So we were trading from 9:30, 10:30, 11. So that's more than an hour and a half. Tesla is still moving. I did took my partial when it was heading higher, but yeah, let's call it a day. So let's just do a recap. So what we did initially, we were looking at SPY at the open. We're looking at the 5 minutes. So we have our pre-market high, pre-market low. Now SPY is an all-time high at the open. We open at 638, so all-time high. But what we saw with SPY is this doji looking, and it saved us from trading SPY. When you get to see a doji like this, most especially at the beginning, so you have your wick at the top, wick at the bottom, almost the same size, expect for it to be choppy. If not choppy for the first hour or two, then it will just be hard to predict which way it would want to go. So that's the reason why we stayed away from SPY at the beginning. So what we did was we look for the easy trade. The easy trade that we get to see is in our scanner, we have the gap up, the gap down. PayPal is the one that is very obvious. PayPal is a gap down. Looking at the daily, PayPal has this gap down, obviously, big gap down. So right at the open, we can already make a bias that we are short bias on this. It's a gap down, meaning it's screaming at us that it is very weak. So if it's very weak, who are we to be long at PayPal? So what we did with PayPal, let me just remove some of the levels here so it's clear, is pre-market low 73 with a pre-market high of 80.65. Look at what it did. Every time it touched the pre-market low, just have that big rejection. So what we did was at the open, we're already calling it out that it's going to be a short. So smaller time frame, just so we can see what we were looking at here. At the pop, we short. At the drop, we cover. At the pop, this one. So first trade here, we are at the VWAP. If that's the case, we can have a clear stop loss. So entry, short, stop loss, high of the day. Cover at break even. You got the pop, confirmation. This is our pre-market low, very strong resistance. Open a short position again, building up a position, short again. Added to that short position because we have a clear stop loss that is just above that pre-market low. So first short was a green. We build a position. This one was supposed to be a cover. I added by mistake, which was fine because we have a very good entry here. So I just waited for a drop before I started covering. So all this, we're short and cover up to that sign of reversal. So initial entry 72.15, and then 71.38, and then another short here, highest one here 72.87, lowest one here 71.75, more than $1 move, and that's just enough to have that 4,500 on PayPal. Now next one is AMD. AMD gave us a hard time today just because we were doing short on a strong stock, so this always is a very high risk trade. So what happened here was we were shorting AMD, and we got stop out. So this is a 2 trade. We got stop out twice. And this one, let's see, let me go back to the time frame, lower time frame. But we did get stop out with AMD a couple of times before we were able to capture it. So lower time frame, it's stopping out. So we were building a short position, we got stop out. Okay, short position, we got stop out. Building a short again, got stop out again. So that's the second strike. First and second trade, we were red in AMD. Now we have that confirmation just because what SPY is doing, SPY is pulling back as well. So we went short, adding to that short position, and we cover all the way here at the VWAP. So it's just 492, but that's because it's just a break-even trade, because the first 2 trades were red, and then this trade got us out of that hole. Now, I was calling it out since we're running out of shares, because of course we have a position in Tesla, which Tesla is very expensive, and that's the reason why, some people tend to hedge with options, because if you buy a couple of shares of Tesla with 320, it is very heavy on the capital. And that's what happened to us. We cannot buy, or for that case, since we're short, we cannot sell more shares of AMD because at the same time, we have a position in Tesla, which is very heavy on the capital. So since we were short bias in AMD with a very limited capital, because again, we have the Tesla position, I hedge it with an options trade. So with options trade, it is much cheaper, but if you're able to catch the move, so strong conviction that AMD is going to head down because of what SPY is doing. SPY is just spiraling down. AMD also showing that signs of weakness. Where is that first sign of weakness? This one right here. Now these 2 trades were red, but once we got that confirmation, we have to, not be a scared trader. So we got the confirmation that it's heading down. SPY is heading down as well. We're running out of shares because Tesla is heavy on the capital. So we hedge it with an options trade. So what we did, this one, I started opening the position at 1053. So at 1053, this is what AMD is doing. 1053 is right here. So this one, higher time frame, 1053 is right around this area right here. So confirmation, you have the inverted candle, third candlestick, you hedge it 180. So I buy a put that is 180. Okay, and then immediately after buying that put, of course, AMD did spiral down just because I have that first 2 trade that were red in AMD. As soon as it moves on my direction, I just closed it. It's just not worth waiting for another hour or 2 to make that move when it already made that move. So as soon as it made that move to the downside, I don't know how long SPY is going to be doing this spiraling, this spiral down, but I'll take what the market is giving me, so close the position, and with that hedge we got 4. So this is like a break even with that Tesla, because Tesla, we got a loss in Tesla, because what happened with Tesla is, this is the thing that happens when it doesn't go in your favor. So you have to make sure that you have a very tight stop loss, as well as you respect your risk and reward, of course, your number of shares. So with Tesla, let's just dissect this one. We were trying to do long. We got stop out. We tried to do long. We got stop out. We tried to do long. We got stop out there. Now, this move right here. So first trade was a red, second trade was a red, third trade was a red, fourth trade was a green, but it's not enough to make it an overall green trade for Tesla. But we'll take that loss. We had a solid trade with PayPal, with AMD, hedging it with options. So we'll take what the market is going to give us. Tesla do have, some moves as well, sometimes in the afternoon. But for me, trading an hour and a half is already a long day of trade. Typically, I trade less than 30 minutes, and I do the rest of my time with other stuff, real estate, marketing and all. So I think that's one of the advantages of being a day trader. You get to be so focused as well with how you value your time, that staying the whole day on the computer watching tick by tick, it's just not worth the time, because you know that your time is the most valuable asset, and you can invest in other ventures and other portfolio. You can diversify your portfolio. So I think that's one of the advantages of a day trader. Most of us like to do day trading because we value our time so much that we don't believe in that 8 to 5 8 to 5 job, because 8 to 5, why would we need to be stuck in a cubicle for 8 to 5 when you can finish your work with a short hours, 30 minutes to an hour, and getting the same result. So I encourage you guys to do the same. Value your time, that you get to be productive, and do not sit on the computer waiting for the tick by tick movement of the stocks. If it's not moving, not going in your direction, you would rather do a one and done trade rather than being stuck in the computer and just looking at that candlestick. If you have to read a book, do an audiobook, at least you're learning something every day. And that's always been my goal. I feel accomplished when I learn something new every day. And if you have that mindset, you learn something new every day. Just imagine looking back, like say December 31, that 364 days that you've learned something new. That's like putting something new in your arsenal. And that's the reason why you can do different things, because you have all the tools that's needed. You learned real estate, you learned AI, you learned marketing, and that's how you can see progress. So right now, what we're learning is AI. Everyone is venturing out to AI, but I'm not into like AI, which AI stock is the best, just because it's a very new thing. Nvidia, of course, if you have invested in Nvidia long time ago, but right now it's very risky. So you have to pick your poison. So I'm learning AI just because of the marketing that it can do to my business, as well as to make it an automated marketing, because I don't want to, again, going back to how you value your time, I don't want to spend more than an hour doing some marketing for the business, I want it to be automated. So that's the one thing that I'm trying to learn now. So it's a challenge, and I challenge you guys to do the same. Have something, learn something new every day, and they will add up, and you will see the progress. And that's how we just build wealth and grow. So I hope you guys got something out of this. I know it's longer than usual. I'm gonna have my break and walk and do something else aside from trading. But thank you so much for watching. We do this one live trade every Tuesday at 9:30. So today is the last day of July. We're heading to August. That went so quick. And by August, we do the same drill. Do live trade every Tuesday, 9:30. Sorry, that's loud. I know. 9:30. And for those of you who's interested on where to begin on how to day trade for a living, please feel free to check our website out. It's called eCourse Unlock, and in that website you'll see what we're up to. So we're up to now diversifying our portfolio through real estate, rental properties, and that's the one that I'm texting earlier just to submit an offer. So very exciting time, and let's not make it complicated. The trading, you make it easy, one and done trade, that's always is the best. Your strategy, make it a rinse and repeat. You don't have to overcomplicate it. I see a lot of day traders, they have so many indicators in their chart. Stop doing that. Indicators are always lagging. The only thing that doesn't lag and in real time is your volume bar as well as your tape. So focus on those two. If you have a moving average, if you have a VWAP, that's more than enough. Now, the pivot point, that's an add-on, but I think that's the only three, of course, with the volume bar that's there, that you really need. You don't have to complicate it. The more you complicate it, the harder it is to replicate it. So you cannot perfect a craft if you keep jumping on to the next craft. Perfect one, and if it's working, then don't change it. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Sorry for the long rant, but I'll see you guys next week. Thank you. So what do you value the most? Is it family? Is it your relationship? Is it health? Is it growth? Or maybe a status? Or maybe a popularity? Is it achievement? Or is it security? Is it fulfillment? Or is it a passion? Is it a relationship, adventure, being creative, being able to do what you want at your own terms? Or just loving what you do, exploring the world, giving back, serving? Now the list can go on and on. What's the common denominator here? All of this require time. And if we will spend 90,000 hours at work, which is the average number of hours a person works in their lifetime, then who has the time to do all this? 24 hours in a day isn't coming to an end. 24 hours is all that we're going to get. Now, wish you could have more time so you can focus on what matters most. What would you do if you have more time in your hand? What would you do if money is not the driving force for you to work? What if you have to get up in the morning, not because you have to clock in at work? What if you have to roll out of your bed to do what you love to do? For instance, for you to travel, spend time with your loved one, follow your passion, maybe do a volunteer work. Did you ever dream of reclaiming more time in a day, or ever wanted to start your own business so you can experience more autonomy, not having to report to a boss, and having the liberty to make your own decision or your own schedule? And I am not talking about retirement. Every day, we get a fresh 24 hours to make that decision on how we would spend that 24 hours. Every day, we are in a crossroad. Our decision will determine our future. In day trading, you can reclaim more time from your day by cutting the working hours to less than 10 hours per week, so you can focus on what matters most. Because honestly, for some, that 10 hours is only their commute time per week to work. After all, we all have seen this ad before. So reclaim more time through day trading so you can focus on what matters most. After all, we are all in a borrowed time, so make it count. Click the link below to learn how to day trade for a living.